Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe to both my Instagram and YouTube channels. I'm very pleased to welcome the stunning NPC women's bodybuilding and physique competitor, Elizabeth Moline, to the podcast. Elizabeth most recently competed at the NPC Nationals, where she placed third in her class in both the bodybuilding and physique divisions. And I think she has a great future in the sport. So stay tuned to learn more about her and where she plans on competing next. Welcome, Elizabeth. It's great to have you here.
Thanks. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's great to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I was really impressed with you at the NPC Nationals. You looked really good.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a long prep and I was really happy to be there.
Oh yeah, that was an excellent show this year, or last year, I should say. So yeah, it was good. Now,
Yeah, it was burnout. A lot of competitors.
I know I was really impressed, especially you were in the heavyweight division, right, for bodybuilding?
It was, and I asked when we did check-ins, I asked how many athletes there were, and I was not expecting them to say that there were, I think it was, I don't even remember, I think it was 12 or 15 women in my class.
Wow.
Really cool to see so many women competing in the open bodybuilding class.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that too. And usually they don't get such a great turnout, not more than 10. So yeah, I think that's a good sign for women's bodybuilding.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to start with asking you how you got started in bodybuilding. And I was wondering if you had an athletic or sports background before you started.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing hockey. I played hockey for 12 years. And then
Wow.
um, I graduated, I needed to fill that competitive void. So I didn't know what to do, didn't have a ton of experience with weightlifting. So I started running and doing like half marathons.
Wow.
Um, Never did a full marathon because I actually hate running. Um,
I understand.
Started doing CrossFit, realized quickly that I only liked the weightlifting portion of CrossFit. I
Uh-huh.
competed for a little bit, so like snatch, clean, and jerk, those lifts,
Okay.
weightlifting competitions. And I actually was dealing with a knee injury and couldn't lift just heavy every single day like I wanted to. So I had a friend who was like, you should try a bodybuilding workout. And all it took was for somebody to say, like, hey, you should compete. It just, I was like, all right, competition, I'm in.
That's
So
terrific.
yeah, I started my first prep shortly after that.
Very cool. What year did you start in bodybuilding?
Yeah, I started, my first prep was in 2019 is when it started.
Okay.
Uh, and I competed, was it 2019? That was like COVID, right? Everything's a time warp.
Yeah.
My first in October of 2020.
Oh, okay. So we right in the thick of COVID at that time.
Yes,
That's cool. Did you have to wear a mask on stage?
did.
Wow.
Take it on stage, but you had like the pictures, right? Like when I look back at pictures, I had the wrist, my mask around my wrist because you
Oh,
could take it off, put it on your wrist, go on stage, and then when you got off stage, you had to put the mask back on.
well, those were weird times for sure. I know. I remember some of the shows where, yeah, the ladies had to wear those masks on stage too, and yeah, you couldn't really see their expression or, you just saw their eyes. Had to do a little bit of eye expression, I suppose.
So we honestly, that might work for me because I forget to smile when I practice posing.
Oh, I see. No, you don't need any lipstick or anything. Just yeah. Um, I was curious if did you have a fitness or bodybuilding role model when you first started?
Ooh, when I first started, not really.
Yeah.
I was into weightlifting, and so it's like all of the athletes that I looked up to were weightlifters, like Maddie Rogers and, other women in the sport whose names I'm like not even thinking of right now. But I guess growing up, my dad always took me to the gym with him. I was the little kid running around at the gym.
Oh yeah.
So kind of, I guess, instilled that lifestyle of health and fitness. And it's awesome. He still goes to the gym every single morning. He's there at 4:45. He's
Wow.
he's lifting and working the punching bag for cardio. He's yeah, it's awesome. So
That's really cool. That's a good role model right there
yeah,
to for you to look up to. Yeah. What is he? I bet he's supportive of your bodybuilding career too.
yeah, he is. hmm Both him and my mom are supportive.
Oh, that's terrific. That's great. Um, I was curious though, was it tough for you to get up on stage in a bikini the first time, or was it kind of nerve-wracking, or do you get nervous now?
I mean, yes and no. It's more so like the butterflies. Like at nationals, I I messed up my routine really bad. I stepped on stage and my brain just went blank. I got
Oh,
really that was more so the posing. I wasn't extremely confident in my posing,
okay,
uh, which is a weakness that I'll be working on this whole off season.
sure.
But the first show, it again was a really long prep. I switched coaches a few times. The show got pushed back, COVID. Just the fact that I was there and getting to step on stage, I was so excited. I actually started crying backstage. Like I was tearing up
Really?
uh, because I was just that excited that I had made it to that day. So no, there was no like, oh, I'm nervous to step on stage in a bikini. It was more so like, I'm ready to actually like embrace stepping on stage. So
That's terrific. And what division did you do for your first show?
I did figure and I also did women's physique.
Oh, you did. Oh, very cool. Yeah. Do you like
Yep.
ditching the heels and not doing figure?
The what?
Did you like ditching the heels?
Oh, absolutely. That was the second I competed in figure at junior nationals, and when I was done with that show, I was like, it's figure. It's physique. I'm not a figure girl. Like mad props to the figure girls, but I can't do the heels.
I would think the heels would be really tough, especially when you're trying to flex your legs up on stage and yeah, it just seems like it would be really tough to do. And I think physique is great because you get to do the posing and show your creativity and kind of artistry on stage too.
Yeah, that's what I really like about it. And I just learned the women's bodybuilding poses right before nationals.
Oh,
Like,
you did? Really?
yeah, qualified. I had to do a qualifier because I hadn't competed in years. So I qualified in October, and that's when we decided that we were going to do women's bodybuilding. And so I started practicing bodybuilding poses at that point. So it was
Wow.
8 weeks before the show that I really started working. I mean, like I had played around with it a little bit before, but it was 8 weeks before nationals that I actually started practicing women's bodybuilding poses. And
Wow.
I love women's bodybuilding poses. It's so fun.
Yeah, that's great. That's terrific. Is that something you're going to continue maybe doing both divisions till you get your pro card?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do you have a preference for one of the over the other, do you think? Physique or women's bodybuilding?
Oh man, I love them both. Right now, I don't.
That's great. I like women's bodybuilding because you got the closed fist and then you can, you know, the lats are part of the mandatories. It's yeah, it's a little bit different for sure. And
The front
um
lats is my favorite pose, so
front lats. Oh, very good. Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
say maybe like women's bodybuilding posing a little bit more.
Oh, I understand. I like that too. I like too that there's pretty much always a pose down with women's bodybuilding, but not always with physique as well.
I don't think I've ever seen one in women's physique.
It sometimes with the pros, I don't know, they don't do it that much with amateurs, but I wish it was more consistent that they would do it for every show.
Sure, yeah, it would be
Mhm.
cool.
It would be. I would like that. Now, we talked a little bit before the interview or before recording about having a huge lineup in the bodybuilding division at nationals. And I'm sure you said you were surprised by that, but what was that like? Just seeing that there were so many women there.
It was awesome. It was so cool. It was like, hell yeah. It's so fun to be around other women that have the same mindset. Um, yeah, there's the gym that I work out at in Rochester. There's a lot of dudes. There are not many women competitors that I mean, there's a few. Our schedules don't match up to train together, but it's just being around like-minded people like that, right? It's awesome.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, you're in Rochester, Minnesota, you said.
Mm,
And that's how are you dealing with the cold up there? It's so cold.
it's awful. Why do I live here? Uh,
Did I was curious, did you follow a job? Because I think that's where Mayo Clinic is based.
I actually don't work at Mayo. I lived in Minneapolis prior to this. That's where all of my training partners are. uh, and I moved to Rochester, Minnesota for a job at a private practice, physical therapy. I'm a physical therapist assistant,
Okay.
play PT. Yeah, so I moved to Rochester, Minnesota, smaller town. It's like pretty close to the Iowa border, I guess.
Yeah. I know, and that isn't that where Mayo Clinic is based? I know
It,
that's a huge and probably the biggest employer there.
most people that move here for Mayo Clinic.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know it's really good reputation too. So um that's cool. I just can't imagine living in that cold weather because I've always lived in Florida. So
yeah.
that's too coldy. Um, now, and just like what was your experience in general like at NPC Nationals? That wasn't your first national show, but first one this year, I think.
Yeah. Junior National 2021 was my first national show. So this was my second national show, and it was an awesome experience. It was really great. My coach made it a great experience. My mom being there, supporting me made it a great experience. Having a lot of competitors in my class made it a great experience. First time in women's bodybuilding. So going into the show, I really had zero expectations of where I was going to end up because I have never competed in that class before. So I just had a really good time being on stage. I was like going into it with the mindset of like, we'll just see where I place, see where I fall. I'm going to do my absolute best and see what happens. So I was really happy with it.
That's great. Yeah, you really look great on stage.
Obviously disappointed that I missed my pro card in women's physique. Um, but I want to come back next year and, you know, have take the advice from the judges and show up better.
Yeah, we mentioned that before we start recording about the top two in women's physique in each class go get the pro card, and you placed third, so you were just short of that. So yeah, I bet that was kind of a bummer.
It was, but I was happy with how it went. It's like uh even though I missed it by one spot, like with the way like within my prep, I started a new job. I actually moved a couple times in my job. Like starting someplace new, starting a new career. It's a lot.
Yeah,
So just being there, I was really I was really happy just to compete.
that's awesome. Yeah, you look great on stage for sure.
You.
Um, I was curious in terms of the for where would you do you hope to compete again at nationals for this year too, or any other national shows?
Yeah, so I'm looking at nationals, same show. I want to go back, I would say next year, but technically this year, right? If they
That's true.
post ever. Um, yeah, so I would like to go back, compete in women's physique and bodybuilding again, and show up with the changes that the judges, told me to make and place better.
And what did the judges suggest? What did they say you needed to improve upon?
Bigger upper body. I've got a thick midsection, so we need bigger lats.
Oh, I
Um,
see. Yeah,
more conditioning. So
more conditioning. Sure, I understand. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, best wishes to you. I hope you get the pro card this year. That'd be great.
thank you. Yeah.
And
We're
I was curious, now that you've done two national shows, I was wondering if there's anything about kind of the bodybuilding world that surprised you, from when you first started.
not really. I there's nothing that, you know, I've seen or has happened that's surprising, I guess.
Sure. I'm just curious if yeah, because a lot of people sometimes don't know about bodybuilding competing until they're in the thick of it and they get into it. And so I'm just curious if there was anything that kind of caught you off guard or
Maybe just like first prep, you don't know what to expect when you truly get into it, when you're like 6, 4, 3 weeks out, that feeling of just being hungry and tired and run down and still having to keep up with your life and get your cardio in and get your workouts in and just like functioning in that really fatigued state. I didn't know that, right? Like
Mhm.
I had no idea what that was like.
I bet
So
that's really tough to do.
yeah, maybe that aspect of it. I had no idea the amount of money that it, it takes. Yeah. So like how much money it costs to compete.
Yeah,
Uh, and the fact that you have to have your whole life set before you start a prep. I mean, like your
yeah.
job needs order, your house needs to be in order. Like if there's a messy area in your life, it's going to affect your prep. I guess maybe like how much stress affects your body is something that I've learned.
Yeah, I understand.
I didn't think about before I did bodybuilding.
Yes, I understand, definitely. Yeah, no, that's a good point. It almost seems like, well, I was going to ask you about coaching, and but it's something like your coach needs to kind of prepare you for, in a sense, I think. And I was wondering if you have a prep coach now.
I do, yeah. I work with Tim Thompson. Uh, his uh, Instagram is TNT Tim or something like that. Basic Fitness. Uh, I've been working with him. Oh, when did we start working together? Like a year and a half ago, maybe.
Okay, great. And has he been a good coach for you? Has he worked out well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. I think the most important thing is how well you communicate with your coach.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he's great with like getting back to messages and reaching out and making sure that I'm good as far as like knowing what the plan is.
Okay.
Um, but also good like in a good mental space too, because that, is a huge piece of it.
Yeah, that's true. Very cool. I'm going to make sure to include his Instagram down below in the comments if people want to look him up and I've heard his name before. I know he's a good coach. I was curious, do you have a posing coach too?
I do, it's his friend. Quentin, last name. Sorry, Quentin. I don't know, but I'll send you his Instagram too, and you can link him in as well.
Terrific.
But
Has he
yeah,
helped you with the mandatories and the posing routine?
Yeah, he is an artiste when it comes to the posing routine. He's
Really?
great. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I can't remember offhand, what songs you used for your posing routines?
Um, I picked it. It was Sia, Unstoppable.
Oh, yeah, good song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do it for both, for women's bodybuilding and physique?
He picked the song for the women's bodybuilding, and I don't remember it.
Oh, no,
I
that's
learned
cool.
uh, very quickly before the show.
Oh,
So
that's
next
true, because you were just learning the bodybuilding poses, you said. Yeah, that's great.
get mandatories down and then throwing in the routine.
Yeah, was it tough to learn those poses in kind of a short period of time?
It was, I think, my biggest struggle with the routines at the night show. Uh, I got nervous and I started doing women's bodybuilding poses for the physique.
Oh, you did? Really?
I
Oh.
know I hit a few poses with the closed fists for women's physique, but yeah,
Oh no. I totally understand though. Yeah, um, that's something I think Eleni Politis, she learned physique poses like a couple hours before she got on stage. So I think that would be tough to do to learn them so fast like that.
right. Is she the right?
What's that?
Is she's the smaller, she was in the shorter class. Jacob Jacoby, right? Was
Yeah, Justin Jacoby is her coach.
she was impressive.
I was really impressed with her. She looked great, and yeah, she got her pro card from winning the class in physique, and yeah, I think she's has really good potential for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Now I wanted to ask you real quick, what would you say is the kind of the most challenging aspect of prep for you?
Balancing life
Hmm.
and prep. Um, I have a tendency to feel guilty when I miss things like family functions or uh, I don't see my family or friends for, you know, an extended period of time. But luckily, they're all very understanding that, this requires extreme dedication.
Hmm.
But for me, I feel guilty. So finding that balance of like, okay, I know that if I go do that extra thing, I'm not going to get the rest that I need to
Sure.
recover. Work is very demanding, prep is very demanding, and you have to stay on top of it. Uh, so if I miss a step, I feel it.
Sure, I understand. Yeah, I think that does come up a lot on this podcast that it's your family doesn't always, or friends don't even necessarily understand why you're doing what you're doing and the discipline that it requires. So yeah, you have to find family and friends that are really, you know, um, patient with you, I think, and be sympathetic to what you're going through too.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
My friends are gym friends. So, it's like they get it. My social time is at the gym
Yeah.
because um, currently I work around 45 hours a week,
Oh, really? Wow.
more like 50.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
40.
understand.
It's like what comes first after work is the gym.
Okay.
And, you know, there's not a ton of time left over. So honestly, like most of my social time is at the gym.
Sure, I understand that. That's a good thing too, I think.
I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it.
Yeah, totally. I understand. And your family, you said, are really supportive too?
They are. Yeah, they're very understanding, very supportive.
That's great. Yeah, I feel bad for some of the ladies I've talked to. Their parents are not supportive, and you can tell it's kind of devastating, I think, for folks like, when their parents don't support them. And they don't understand what they're doing, you know, so yeah, that's a good thing for sure. Now, I was curious, do you find is it hard to kind of juggle your physical therapy assistant career with bodybuilding? You kind of have to really plan your day really well, I bet.
If, like I said, if I miss a step, I feel it. So currently I'm working a lot of hours a week,
Okay.
um, more than ideal for bodybuilding.
Hmm.
Um, and I really, really have to prioritize rest and sleep and recovery. So I really like my weekends are spent, going to the gym, going to the grocery store, doing my food prep, resting, getting my feet up. um, yeah, so I train as hard as I can, and I try to plan my training days around, like when on the weekends, basically. Um, so the days that I have longer shifts, those are my cardio days, and the days with the shorter shifts, I try and push my workouts, and on the weekends, I prioritize bodybuilding. So you
Great.
just make it work.
And I know you're relatively new to Rochester, but and your job there, but is your job your the people that run the physical therapy place, are they going to work out schedule wise with you so you can go to competitions and such?
Oh yeah, they've been extremely supportive of me in my bodybuilding career. Super supportive.
Great.
Kind of rare that uh, I don't know, like all my coworkers are sending me messages on show day and asking me how my prep is going, how I'm feeling, how I'm doing. Just having that little bit of, I guess, encouragement, right, and support makes a really big difference.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, that's terrific that they're so supportive like that. Yeah. And we talked about Rochester a little bit. I know it's a relatively small city. Do you find you have a supportive bodybuilding community there at the gym?
Absolutely. I found an amazing community here. Everybody has been so welcoming, so supportive. Like I got a message from the guy that owns the gym the other day asking for a picture from Nationals so they can hang it on the wall.
Nice.
Like, yeah, everybody, they have a whiteboard in the gym, and it's like they write down the show days and who's competing. So just a ton of people that have been so supportive.
Wow, that's
You know,
terrific.
the gym that I go to is a little bit smaller, and if someone's on the stairs and they see that I'm done with my lift and I have to do my cardio, they're like, "You want the stairs? I'll move to the bike." It's like people are just extremely supportive.
That's terrific. That's great. So you have a really good support system there. And yeah, I was curious when you have competed, have you had a pretty good cheering section at some of your shows?
Yeah, my first show, I had a lot of people from, first and second show. Yeah, I've had a lot of people come and support me. Texas, obviously traveling makes it challenging, but
Yeah,
my mom flew with me and came there to support me, so that was awesome. I had my coach there, teammates.
terrific. It's always good to have a good cheering section, I think. It makes a huge difference, I think.
To be honest, I am not hearing it.
Oh yeah, you're focused. You're in the zone, aren't you?
Yeah. One of my really good friends and her daughter came with me to the local show that I did, the qualifier that I did. And
Uh-huh.
I told her daughter, who I think she's turning, oh gosh, how old is she? She's young, 9, maybe. I told her to stand by the stage and yell hamstrings and hands for my posing routine, because that's always what I forget, is to flex my hamstrings and my hands back in my back double by. And she stood by the stage and she yelled those two things, and I heard her.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
terrific. So she helped you out.
yeah. Then we're there all day, and she was such a trooper, like young kid just hanging out at the bodybuilding show all day.
Oh, that's so cool. Maybe she's a future bodybuilder too.
Definitely.
That's terrific. That's great. Yeah, that's kind of a unique thing, and you'll always kind of remember that, I bet, at future shows, I bet.
Yeah.
We just have a few minutes left. I just have a few more questions for you. Um, and this question is kind of funny because you're in Minnesota, but do you like to show your muscles in public, or do you prefer to stay covered up? And that's probably more summertime question for you.
Sweaters when you're muscular sucks. Bulky, it's the worst. I'll be 100% honest. When I go out in public, and it's like someone asks me, or it's like bodybuilding comes up in conversation. If somebody's like, "Oh, you do bodybuilding?" I'm like, yeah, you tell.
I think it's pretty obvious.
No, it's way more fun wearing tank tops and you know showing off the guns.
Exactly. Yeah. But you have to do that. Yeah, spring and summer for you, I imagine.
Soak it up as much as you can here.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. It's kind of a short summer there for sure. Um, I was curious if you were in like a leadership position with NPC or IFBB, what would you do to improve the sport of bodybuilding and make the sport better?
Better payouts for women.
Yeah, I understand.
Both between payout for men and women. I think that's what I would change.
I know that's a huge issue, I think, and it is amazing the discrepancy between men and women, especially like at the Olympia level, and yeah, just crazy. I do wish that they would put more money into the women for sure, and more prize money would attract more competitors too, I think, and help pay for what's a very expensive sport as well.
I think we're gonna compete anyways because we love it, right? And the goal for everybody is to step on the Olympia stage. That's the dream. So we're not gonna not do it, but it's just too bad. Like yeah, it's 2024. Why are we getting paid that much less?
Yes, I agree. I
I think
think
we draw women's bodybuilding draws a huge crowd. It's like, oh well, people come for the men's bodybuilding, but I think women's bodybuilding draws a pretty big crowd. I don't know.
I think so too. You're right. And there's tons of fans that come to the shows and buy the pay-per-view, and they yeah, we want to root for you guys. So yeah, I agree with you though. I think more money would be good and more payouts. So yeah, hopefully that'll come eventually. So we're almost out of time. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind doing a quick flex for me. And like I said, I'll mute myself and have you talk real quick and then flex for me. Thanks again though.
Yeah, for sure. It's-
Great. You look great, Elizabeth. And best wishes to you and your future competitive plans. And I think you're going to get your pro card soon.
I'm working towards it. I'd love to be competitive in the pro league. So that's the goal.
Terrific. I think you're going to get there soon, and I'll be definitely sending you best wishes later this year when you compete again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you. I'll get this posted relatively soon.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Take care.
you too.